Okay, so here we are. We're still in chapter 3-5, operation with matrices. And we've talked about adding and subtracting matrices. And remember now, to add and subtract, we've got to have matrices that have the same dimensions. And when we're saying the same dimensions, we're meaning that they've got the same number of rows and the same number of columns. We also looked at multiplying matrices by a scalar, which is kind of like distributive property. In fact, very much like distributive property. And now we're going to combine the two, and we're going to do what we call multi-step operations. So let's see what we got here. So we're saying if A equals this matrices right here, -5, 3, 6, -8, 2, 9, and B equals this matrices, 12, 5, 5, -4, 4, -7, find -6B plus 7A. Well, the first thing I want to look at and say, okay, do these matrices, in fact, have the same dimensions? Because I'm asked to add -6B. In other words, I'm going to take matrices B and multiply it by the scalar -6. And I'm also going to take matrices A and multiply it by a scalar of 7. And then I'm asked to add those together. So I've got to know that they have the same dimensions. And looking here, I see I've got 2 columns and 3 rows in both matrices. So let's attempt to work our way through this. So first I'm going to take matrices B, and I'm going to multiply it by the scalar -6, which you see I've already worked out. But here I go. I got -6 times 12 is going to give me -72, and -6 times 5 is going to give me -30, and 6 times 5 also going to give me -30, and -6 times -4, well, that's going to give me +24, and -6 times 4, +4, is going to give me -24, and -6 times -7 is going to give me +42. So we have multiplied matrices B by the scalar -6. And let's go ahead and attempt to do where we're going to multiply matrices A by the scalar of 7. So 7 times -5, it gives me -35. And 7 times 3 is going to give me 21. 7 times 6 is equal to 42. 7 times -8 is equal to -56. 7 times 2 is equal to 14. And 7 times 9 is equal to 63. And now I'm ready to go to the next slide where I'm going to complete this multi-step operation. And we are going to add these two scalars that we see here. That's -6B, and this is 7A, and we're simply going to add those two together. All right, so here we are. The matrices on the left here is the -6B, where we multiplied matrices B by the scalar of -6. We're going to add it to 7A, where we multiplied the matrices A by the scalar of 7, and now we're just going to simply add these two together. So -72 plus -35, -72, -35 is going to give me -107, and -30 plus 21 is going to give me -9, -30 plus 42 is going to give me a +12, 24 minus 56 gives me -32, -24 plus 14, -10, and lastly 42 plus 63, 105. And we have completed a multi-step operation. Now, when we get into our homework, it's not going to always be adding. Sometimes we'll be subtracting these matrices. What have I got here? I got to look at this position here, where I got that negative 35 as an example. Here I'd have negative 72 minus negative 35. Well, a minus minus gives me a positive. That would turn that to a positive 35. And I think that's like, would give me negative 37 when I add, or subtract, excuse me, negative 72 minus negative 35. Anyway, just a word of warning. When you get in here and you're going to do a multi-step operation, it ends up with subtraction. It's going to change the sign of everything in the second matrix. All right, not bad.